Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well. Three, I would say, short topics, but I think they're deep topics having to do with Russia's culture, future plan for their nation. I think, is the first time when it's a direct blame or statement made by Peskov, by the Kremlin spokesman, that United States of America is directly involved in the war with Russia, in the conflict in Ukraine. They used to say, maybe, now directly. And then we have Putin's make some remarks regarding Biden and Harris on one side, so the former and the future, I think, they say, and then Trump on the other hand, which is going to reiterate what he said, I think it was in a 2016 interview with those French guys from, I don't want to call them journalists or whatever, from, I can't remember, it was Le Monde, I think it was, when he was asked, 2016 or 15, was just before the elections in the United States of America, and he was asked, if you remember, I made a video on that with the help of some of my friends here that provided me with the video. I couldn't find the video anymore on YouTube. When Putin says about those guys, he says, well, we don't care who wins over there, actually, because it's the same guys behind the scenes who will show up, dressed in black suits and ties and glasses, and they will tell them how things are actually ran. He's going to make almost the same statement now, but referring to the Democrats, Kamala Harris and Biden, which seems like those guys are 100% owned by those guys. Trump, not yet. So let's start with this article, which is from Sputnik, and it's going to have the two topics in it. The first one, Putin's remarks about Biden true for Vice President Harris, the Kremlin says, Peskov. So what were the remarks? If you remember, Putin said that when he was asked which one he would prefer to work with, he said, well, it depends on the American people. I don't care. But he said Biden is more predictable. Why? Because he's going to follow the same path he's told by, according to Putin, by the guys coming in black suits with ties and sunglasses. So that's what it is. And he said Harris is owned by the same guys. She's just going to continue clearly the predictability of the, however you want to call it, the swamp, the whatever, alternative state, or whatever you want to call it. That's what he thinks. It doesn't mean that he's right or anything like that. But maybe he makes us think and pay attention. And then you're going to say, well, that's a confirmation bias, Emil. Well, isn't that what you do with a thesis? You put down the thesis, and then you do the research, and then you bring the arguments to support your thesis. That's your findings. And people might say, oh, that's no. Anyway, let's go a confirmation bias, that is. Let's see what this guy says. Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent remark about the predictability of US President Joe Biden also applies to his vice president turned presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Sunday. Asked whether Russia would prefer to see Joe Biden or Donald Trump as the next US president, Putin described Biden as more preferable because he was more experienced and predictable. No, I think because Donald Trump is on Putin's payroll, right? Okay, now we just turn full retards and we believe that. And I'm quoting Peskov. We do not have a favorite candidate, but the Democrat, I think this is Putin. No, this is Peskov. We do not have a favorite candidate, but the Democrats are certainly more predictable. What Putin said about Biden's predictability applies to almost all Democrats, including Mrs., correct, she's married, Harris, end quote, with a Jewish guy who's handsome as fuck. They said he's a sex symbol. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Peskov said in a recorded interview published on social media. Peskov lamented that state of U.S. relations are, we don't care, it's already dead. So, when asked about the future of Democrats' policy on Russia and the European Union, Peskov said it was also easy to predict. It is predictable. It is all predictable. And I'm quoting. They will stick to the same policy. Towards us, they will predictably continue to put pressure on the EU member states, and they will continue to enslave those countries politically and economically. They will already have the troops on their territory. So this is their opinion on that, and I think it's 100%, no, I'm not using 100, I'm going to use 99.9% accurate. Is that a crime to be misguided as I am right now, or delusional? I don't think it's a crime. Oh, do I need to be like that and pills popped? No, I don't think so. As the free person, I should be allowed to say anything I want as a statement, as imbecilic it should be. And if you have counter-arguments, you come and engage the imbecile, if you want, in a debate. The problem is, we have the Bible that tells us that you don't argue with crazy people, because people will not be able to make a difference which who's who and what's what. You know, we have all kind of these kind of things. Just say what you believe, just say what you think. And then argue, which is bring arguments, discuss, debate, and you learn. The reason for debates is to learn the other side's stance, position. And then by that you learn something. So that means it's a win-win. You might win the debate, but when you win the debate, it doesn't mean that you have to be necessarily honest, which debates are as debates. But in trying to find the truth, you bring your arguments, discuss, and find out, and do your research later. You don't have to agree with those guys. Next one. U.S. involvement in Ukrainian conflict. The United States is directly involved in the Ukraine conflict. I said this from the first time they sent the first bullet for the Ukrainians, despite numerous statements to the contrary. Peskov said, and I'm quoting, "The United States, despite many statements to the contrary, is directly involved in the conflict around Ukraine. It is demonstrating a tendency towards increasing the level of involvement in this conflict," Peskov said in a recorded interview published on Telegram on Sunday. So, if that's a fact, Peskov, if you guys reached the conclusion, you don't say might, may, could, will. No, it is. It's right now, currently. So then what will you do? Well, you can't stay idle and do the same old, right? What are you going to do about it? So now you say it is directly involved, which I said from the very beginning. First bullet coming to my enemy, coming from someone else, that turns you in my enemy. Rather, you actively involved in changing something. You add something. That means you got involved in this one. So I think it's what the Russians can do. I said many times, what do you do with bullies? I'm not saying that's Jesus Christ, United States, the government I'm talking, is a bully. No, you're just like Al Capone. And Al Capone was never a bully. Remember, why not? Because he was indicted on tax evasion, not on any bullying. No. It was just tax evasion. Got that? All right, unproven bulliness. So what do you do with a bully? Well, you either stop the bully from the very beginning, you take your chance right there, which is easier, always easier to oppose the bully 100% forcefully. At the beginning, don't let the bully get the idea that you're backing off, because he takes that as a weakness. And then it's harder for you after you go, come on, man, come on. He takes it as a weakness. And he's going to escalate. He's going to get confidence. But from the very beginning, when he asks you, hey, what are you looking at? With your fucking ugly face, I'm going to fuck you up. And that's it. He can come and beat you. That's a risk. Or maybe you can beat him up. But you're going to get to the same conclusion later, when he got more self-esteem. When you're going to say at one point, no, you can't touch my pussy. You're going to get the same point. You lose time, and he gained confidence. So do it first. The same with the Americans. What happened now? Americans, the US government, which is owned by three things, plus the group. You know what the group is? You can guess it. The name that should not be, could not be, may not be allowed to be named. Why? Because, right. So you got three. Banking system, military-industrial complex, and the energy sector, plus the pharma, which helps us heal. All right? So that's the way it is. What should they do? It's kind of like too late. So you have to, now you're going to talk about something like, I'm going to destroy you or something. Now, after you had this many people died in your cousin's nation, which is the Ukrainian nation, in your country, led by those guys over there, which are those guys, Zhmihal, Yermak, Reznikov, and Mr. Zelensky Stein. All right? Why now? You waited so long thinking that the other bully would just shut up and back off. He didn't. So I think it was they know better, all right? I know they have more information. I know they have contact behind the scenes with one another. They say, well, they discuss daily. They communicate. That's my gut feeling. And I think I'm entitled to have a gut feeling, like the other 51% of the population. You know what that is? I just have an argument with one member of the 51, and you're going to figure out that gut feelings will always trump your facts, your actual facts, the evidence that you can, demonstrate. Because, feelings are subjective. They exist over there, they are over there, but that's not necessarily that's true. I feel threatened by, a bee, but it doesn't mean that the bee really, it's an exaggerated sense of being threatened by a bee. Some people might have phobia and all that, but it's you, it's not the bee. The bee is not, I'm going to sting you right now, fucker, because that's what I am, I'm a criminal. Now, do something to a bee, and the bee dies, unfortunately. All right, let's go to the second one. The second part of this video has to do with Russian government listing threats to country's youth. So remember, who owns the youth, not the money, will own the country. You remember that guy who said, I don't care who has the weapons and who's in charge. As long as I control the money, I don't give up. You remember who that guy was? I gave you a few hints. I gave you one already. In England. His name was starts with an A, the first name, and the other one with an R. A-R. Adolf. No. Anyway, so let's go back. So the same, when that guy said, the guy with Hitler, Jungen, blah, 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 he knew what he was talking about. The same with these guys. They put your curriculum for your kids to do this kind of classes, take this mandatory classes, this. They already indoctrinate your children. The children will become adults. And when you're going to have politicians talking about global warming, global warming is good, I learned in school. So they identify with imbecility, so they will vote in a certain way. Or they will push their agenda, they will become active members of society. Activists. Why? They don't know. That happened from kindergarten. And you as a parent, you were too busy working and didn't look at the kids' curriculum. Anyway, I will tell you a story that I just had with someone, but maybe not. Let's go to this, check this out. What are the threats? According to a strategy review, young people are susceptible to foreign concepts such as cosmopolitanism and individualism. Got that? What is cosmopolitanism? That is, have no move around, have no ground to stay somewhere. To be everything goes, I don't care, no. And individualism is clearly against the collectivism, which is, some people, if you push it to an extreme or past a certain thing, you become a selfish guy. Only you. No family, no children, no wife, no mommy, no daddy, no friends, no community, no country. And that also shake hands with the cosmopolitanism. The same thing. Everything goes. And you can see that in the big cities. The big cities are less safer. People trust one another less. And they have no allegiance. I'm exaggerating. No allegiance in a sense of, it's cutthroat society here. Versus a village where people know one another, it's a different kind of smaller units, so smaller environment, society. You have other things. You can leave your door open outside, unlocked. You know each and every person. You feel a little bit more ashamed of your actions in the village because the whole village will know that you fucked up and what you did, and they will sanction you for that. But in big city, I can be an asshole with whomever I want. Who knows if I'm going to ever meet that person again? And that's the whole point. I will never. Why? We're too many here. I don't belong to anybody, and so on. That means destroys the fabric of the society, including the family and so on. So let's see what the Russians are saying. So, cosmopolitanism and individualism among young people could become an obstacle to Russia's development and economic growth, Russian authorities have said. This could be also an indoctrination with certain values, and then you can manipulate them, obviously, in the direction you want. It could be used both ways. Now, who's gonna be the arbiter and the philosopher king here? I guess Putin. All right, let's move on. Well, since we have here Kamala Harris and others telling us about the American values all the time, well, the same thing. That's why you have to have access to as much information as you possibly can have, and read past books. Get your information from the past. These guys right now are just in George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984. They destroy the present and the history so you don't remember how things really were. And you like a child, like a teenager right now, or a young adult, you think that's the way it's always been. No, it hasn't been like this. But you don't know how it was. They think you're educated right now because you have a college degree, but you're not educated because everything, I'm exaggerating, you learned in school was just from here to here, and pick and choose. And other things just left aside, and do some clicks on YouTube and try to find out some controversial past interpretations of history, and you're gonna find it in the listing like 3,593 listed. You're not gonna scroll down 3,000 times. You're gonna go to the first 10, and the first 10 are all the same. Why? Because it's a given thing that we have global warming, that these guys are kind, and so on. You should love that country over there, even though that country is not your friend. You know what country I'm talking about? Exactly, that one. The warning was made in the Strategy for Russia's Youth Policy until 2030, which was approved by the government in Moscow on Thursday. The document was prepared at the behest of Russian President Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. I'm quoting, there are almost 38 million people aged between 14 and 35 in Russia. Taking care of their future is important for ensuring national security. That is valid for any country, any nation that wants to survive. If you want to survive, you have to go, and these guys you have to ensure your national security. Unless you're a cosmopolitan and an individualistic, selfish person, money, life, take a poop and die. Now, this would require joint efforts from the government bodies and non-profit organizations, and most importantly, involved young men and women in the decision-making, Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin said during cabinet meeting. In the strategy document, it was pointed out the functioning of Russia as a powerful, economically developed state. You can have this one. Necessitates a population that is, and I'm quoting, nationally oriented and supports traditional values. Past, right? And solid. This should be achieved through the, and I'm quoting, harmonious development of young people and their creative potential. Due to its key role in the society, the younger generation has been selected as, and I'm quoting, the main target of ideological intervention carried out from the outside in order to weaken the Russian state, the newspaper stressed. That was one reason why I left Romania. Exactly that. The Romanian television after 1989, which was garbage, right? It was controlled and garbage. They came with the opposite. Everything, how much you could know about the West that was done in the West was just dumped in Romanian society and youth to take that as being great, that you should admire, that is your new value. And I was like, no, I don't want my children to be propagandized that, but I ended up here where there actually is the source of that. But it's always good to fight the source than to fight, far away. I'm fighting here and actually the source is over there. No, you better go over there and try to kill the beast in the heart, not try to fight the nail. I'm going to fight you right here. Stop. You go straight. Or straight, whatever you want to go. You know what I mean. Let's move on. One of the major threats to the country's youth is named is the imposition of the Western lifestyle and consumption habits, which includes extraterritorial, apolitical views and sexual deviations. So extraterritorial, apolitical views. You don't belong, everyone in, inclusion, diversity, let them come in, dilute your culture or improve your culture, and so on, and sexual deviations. You know what they're talking about, right? I can identify and let live and so on, but now you are, if you don't applaud and you're not enthusiastic enough for the month, or whatever, when someone said, oh my God, if you're not, now you are a bad dude. Maybe you should go to a concentration camp or something. These guys, no, I don't think it's the way it should go. Debate, free open debate. That's how it should be. And people that have mental illness should be treated. Don't you think? Compassion. Anyway, help to function in a vibrant society. See, words here. The moral system of the younger generation in Russia, and I'm quoting, reflects value shifts from collectivism to individualism and from statism to cosmopolitanism. Over the past 30 years, yeah, it's easier to penetrate a non-cohesion society. Is that how you say? No, it's hard. Because that's the way it is. If you're a family with your values, your history, it's hard for someone from outside, selling you a carpet or something, or getting in your house and saying, you know what, I want to be part of your family. Okay, I'm poor, I was discriminated all my life, let me in. You let him in. And after a while, that person will try to get your sister or your daughter, your son, to think in a certain way, to hate you and the family's values. And that guy, no, he's a good guy, he's the victim here. He was victimized and you help him. Now you want to hit him? No, you should take him by the fucking pubic hair and kick him out. What are you going to do? Let him put poison in your family? No, you destroyed me and I helped you. Thank you very much. Oh, no, he's adding to your culture? These guys used so much mental gymnastics for us. That if you say something, you're this. If you say something, you're this. Bad connotations to anything that you say logically. You try to defend your homogeneity. Anyway, if you don't understand that word, is homogeneous society. Let's move on. In culture and many other things. The document noted that I'm quoting, individualistic values often lead to difficulties for young people in forming relationships in the family, with friends and at work. It singled out the development of collectivist values within the age group as an important task for the government over the 6 years. I mean, if you think that you are going to, right now, and just for me, how can you form a relationship with someone? Because in a relationship, you have to give and take. You have to create a balance. That is, you give some of your decision-making authority to the other person and vice versa. You have to trust the other person. You have to share with the other person. Now, if everything is done my way, but everything you do is done also my way, that's not a relationship. It's a master-slave relationship. Therefore, people who cannot have friends, sometimes, marriages come and go, but if it's a pattern, it's not a problem that those guys are all imbeciles. Maybe you make a hasty decision. Maybe you're meant to be alone and be a philosopher, or invent something. But you have to give away. You have to share. All right? Keep a balance. A friendship, a relationship in a group, in a collective, is through negotiations. It's not like I tell you everybody what to do and you all listen to me. Nobody appointed you to that position in a society. It's negotiable. I don't have to play with you. Okay, you play by yourself. Why? Because you want to play with my little toy, my little car, but you don't let me play with your car. How do you think why would I be a friend with you? Unless I'm an idiot. But this way, no, we make everybody like this. I'm with me, and everybody for himself. Therefore, nobody will trust nobody. All right, let's move on. All right. Some of the other dangers to young people mentioned in the strategy are weakening connections between generations. Yep, remember Jim Morrison with the song, or The Doors, but the lyrics come from him. The song, This Is the End. What is he doing over there? And everybody's applauding. He wants to do what to his father and then what to his mother? And you can say, well, it's just a song. My friends, that was the part of the hippie movement pushed by the same guys was liberation. Like what? What kind of liberation? Sexual liberation, that means I take it, I give it to whomever. Love is love. No, that was lust is lust. And then challenge the status quo of the old people, the old man. Wasn't that the whole purpose? And they succeeded. Based on what? Frankfurt School? Anyway, let's move. All values are relative here. Your values, no, all cultures are equal. Cultural relativism. No, the cultures are not equal. They're not equal. Some have certain particularities and some others. If I create, paintings and you don't even know how to fucking paint, what does it mean? I'm a little bit better, don't you think? Maybe you created something I didn't create. But hey, good for you. And we're gonna share? Yeah, we're gonna share. But put them together is gonna come with the, as I always say, cultural anthropology, if you want. And not only that, look at that. It's the fight between, and not only that, it's the fight between for resources. And group anthropology, they try to, no, we're friends. These are just infantile individuals. They're the same state as a unicorn is coming over there. The fairies are over there. And how's that? Superstitious stuff. This is what these guys are with. Oh, we'll all be friends, be kind. The world is not like we as humans were not created as the best creation that we are told to function like that. We're not. Maybe you are, good for you, but you are in a very, very tiny minority. It doesn't mean you should not try, but you like to try to make this, turn into a food. This is not a food. This is meant for this is the human beings. Right there. You can maybe lick it salty because of the sweat or something of my beautiful fingers. Okay, but nevertheless, nothing, you can't eat it. I mean, you can try to eat it, but it's not going to be nutritious for you. They're the same. Try to change people into something they can't. Like make a pig fly. I mean, unless you, it's not going to fly. It's not meant to fly. Or I don't know, a bulldozer, try to make it fly. The bulldozer is not meant to fly. It's meant to push dirt around. That's what it is. The same to humans. Be kind, be this, inclusive. I'm not saying you should not try, but the communists try as well. It's human nature. We are very, very flawed. Doesn't mean we should not try to keep a balance and try to, have virtues and values. We should try. That's why we can have a better world. But these guys are pushing it to an absolute. No. Anyway, doesn't mean you should not try, but then don't kill anybody in the process. Traditional spiritual and moral values. So again, weakening connection between generations and the degradation of traditional spiritual and moral values. Legal nihilism, of course, insufficient involvement in socially useful activities, and an increasing number of crimes committed by young people, including with the use of information and communication technologies. Now, this to me sounds like big time censorship. According to the document, the key areas of Russia's youth policy until 2030, that is until Putin's gonna go, I don't know where, would be supporting the volunteer movement and patriotic organizations, introducing additional opportunities for studying and advancing training, expanding access to quality online content as part of cultural and educational initiatives, promoting the Russian language as a basis for cooperation on international platforms, and creating additional infrastructure for recreation and sports. So they want mens sana in corpore sana. That means in healthy body, healthy mind in healthy body. You can be a slob and say, oh, mentally I'm good. Well, all right. I mean, those guys were not the Romans. That's Latin, right? You can't be like that. They said, were they wrong? Of course, the Romans were bad. Remember, they have the Roman salute. That's all you need to do. And they used, by the way, you see how they use the toilets, man? With those sponges, they will share it. Oh my God, that's gross. And another thing that you know about these guys is that supposedly they were rinsing their mouth with urine because it had, what's that called? Can't remember the chemical. God damn it! They will clean it. They were very bad. That's all you need to know about the Roman culture, civilization. That's all. That's all. Not what they created as a culture, as a Roman law, as buildings, a road. No. You should not. Forget about it. We're going to focus on garbage. We're going to take a poop on this guy. Oh, did you know the Greeks were practicing, in the gym, in the gymnasium, they're naked? Oh my God. Did you know that they will have some blades? I was about to show something here. The blades, and they will, after the training, they would squeeze, they would do like this with the blade, with the sweat, and they will store it in amphors, and they will drink that. Oh, that's gross. But they would thought that that's the result of hard work. That is some spiritual shit. That's bad, man. And they had the Olympics. Can you imagine? They were so exclusive over there. Not inclusive. Why? And they were taking drugs. By the way, all kind of drugs to enhance their performance during the Olympics. Did you know that? And so on. They focus on perverted things that they could analyze in a certain way that give a bad connotation to your culture, country, family, and so on. Who is they? I don't think it's your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband, your mom, your dad. No, it's someone who came from somewhere and really, really detests you and everything I said, culture, civilization. Who can that be? Not every immigrant. Because, you know, what's a country? What's a nation? It's an extended family. Don't expand it to humankind. That's already unicorns and infantile and be kind garbage. All right, my friends, they're trying. It's hard to keep a balance. Because inevitably all these things could, not inevitably, but usually they go in the direction of exaggeration, and then you get to tyranny. I impose because I think I know better. And then the free people will be left alone to face the guys in charge who think are better. But the same is right now. You are given something, an ideology, an activist mentality towards certain values that actually are your family's values. Who are those guys? Look at their names. And not only because you always have people deluded already by generations of, regimentation. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.